A boy needs a father to show him how to be in the world. He needs to be given swagger, taught how to read a map so that he can recognize the roads that lead to life and the paths that lead to death. How to know what love requires and where to find steel in the heart when life makes demands on us that are greater than we think we can endure. Ian Morgan Crum. The Vietnam War era began in August 1964 and lasted through May 7, 1975, with over 9 million military personnel serving during that era. Throughout the war, over 58,148 were killed, and over 75,000 were severely disabled. 91% of Vietnam veterans say they are glad they served, and 74% say they would serve again, even knowing the outcome.
Being the son of a soldier is not often the life we would choose for ourselves. However, it is often the cards one is dealt. In our research, we spoke with 3 men whose fathers served in Vietnam. We got a brief glimpse into their minds and hearts of what it felt like to live a day-to-day life without a father. We learned what fear looked like in their lives and how they coped with it. Most importantly, we learned the amount of pride that comes from being the son of a soldier, the son of a man who protected his country, his freedom, and his family.
As we begin this journey with our interviewees, we wanted to know what their thoughts were on war in general. One son said, "Personally, I feel like we got involved in something we didn't really need to be involved in, but our country committed us to it, so we didn't really have a choice." While another said, "I was only 8 years old at the time, and the effects of what I know now is that it was a lot of waste for something we didn't really gain anything in. I was all for bringing the guys home. We lost a lot of men and women over there, and I don't think it was worth the lives lost."
Most of our interviewees were quite young at the time their fathers were deployed, so understanding what was going on around them was difficult. We wanted to understand what life looked like for them without having their father in their day-to-day life. One son said he was never able to coach anything or help really anything with Little League because he was so involved with the military. Military was tough. It was one of those things that it's an honor to serve now, and for him it was then too.
For him, it was his daily activities of playing sports and going to school that his father missed out on, and caused him to want to have more involvement with his family. For another, it was that his father was consistently away. He says, "Well, my father was in the Army all of my young life, and he was always out in the pits that had him away. He would be gone for a month or 2 at a time, and then be back for a few weeks, and then gone again. It wasn't a huge difference, but it was certainly very concerning to my family and to me that you weren't sure if he would be coming back." The concern we see from him was daily. It was a constant fear of not knowing if he would ever see his father again. A fear like this had potential to be crippling, but a common theme we noticed amongst our interviewees was they shared a strong family bond. They had them around them to support them and to give them courage to carry through their daily lives.
It was apparent in all of our interviews that Vietnam was not a glamorous time to be a soldier, and being a soldier was not given the glory and honor that it gets today. We noticed in all of our interviews, the men showed sorrow about the treatment their fathers received or the lack of celebration they were given upon their safe return. One son says, "As far as my dad, he didn't get to see the honor that our guys get now when they come home. He came home, and I don't think he ever got spit on, but there were guys walking through airports who would actually get spit on, And now, people can walk around with their Army t-shirts on and be proud. I never saw my dad with Army t-shirts on or anything when he put on his civilian clothes. He put on his civilian clothes, and he didn't want anything to do with it." He then goes on to say, "That's probably the only war that we've ever been in where the guys came home and they were not treated as heroes. And that's a shame."
As we continued our research, we noticed that there was a lack of information on how those men continued their lives after their fathers returned home from war, if they went into a career with the military or if they chose not to. We also wanted to know if this influenced the way they raised their family. One man says that his father actually discouraged him to go into the military, saying, "When I graduated high school, we had to register for the draft, but my dad said I had to register," but then went on to say, "Son, go to college. I've put in enough years for the both of us." I don't think he felt I needed to serve.
Another says, there were things I didn't like my father not being around, which made me change the way I raised my daughters because I felt like I needed to be involved with their lives. It was very apparent that even though at times these men dealt with crippling fear and confusion about where their fathers were or if they would return home, there was one thing that stood true amongst all of them, the pride they shared for their fathers.
They were proud of the men they were and that they stood up amongst a generation of protesters and violence and fought for their country and for their beliefs. It remains true to this day. These men are very proud to be sons of veterans.